Welcome everyone, this is Dr. Clark in the Center for Weight Loss Success. Today on Losing Weight USA, we're going to talk a little bit about SMART goals. I mentioned them kind of throughout a number of these webinars. I know we talked a little bit about them last week, but SMART goals, SMART is a mnemonic, and we'll go through what it stands for, but you want to have SMART goals as you go through really any changes or kind of what we're looking at. If you want to talk about New Year's resolutions, whatever, but specifically for weight loss. Okay, that's what we're hitting on more today. So SMART goals, there we go. All right, here's the official welcome. Welcome to Losing Weight USA, real-time answers to your weight loss questions, some of the latest updates, a little bit of expert advice. Gives you direct access not only to me, but you should be receiving the health tips and recipes via the membership portal. If you have questions during the presentation, just type them in as we go along. If you think of things once we're all done, just give us a yell here at the Center for Weight Loss Success. The email is success@cfws.com. Phone number 757-873-1880, which you can also text to. All right, again, we're talking about SMART goals. Let me get this flipped over, get the slides flipped over here. All right, SMART goals again. Yeah, so kind of personal habits that tend to work against all of us, okay? You know, are you prone to making excuses? Are you waiting for someone else just to kind of help and set it all up for you? Do you engage in kind of self-doubt? It's like, gee, I don't know if I can do this or not. Is there some nice shortcut to success? We'd all love that. Sometimes we're embracing things that aren't urgent, but really are somewhat urgent, but not really important. But we kind of keep going back to those because, hey, I got to get to that now. But they're, in the big scheme of things, are really unimportant. Or you're just procrastinating. Sometimes we just worry about when's the perfect time to start, and therefore we never start. Because I assure you, there's really never a perfect time to start. All right, so goals are very important. I say this over and over again, but a goal without a plan is just a wish. It'd be nice if his wishes all came true, but they tend not to. And as we mentioned last time, and I often say over and over again, when we're talking about behavior change, which is generally if we're trying to accomplish something, we're talking about behavior change. So for any behavior change, we need to answer yes to these two questions. Can I do it? And is it worth it? Is without answer. If we answer no to either parts of those questions, and subsequently then it's not really going to happen, or it may just be a temporary change. Can I do it? Is it worth it? Need to answer yes to those two questions. All right, so kind of where to start when we start talking about goals. You want to ask yourself some very important questions, and you want to make sure you're being honest with yourself. That's important. What are these goals? Are they health related? Is it just, gee, I want to look better? Is your weight impacting how you enjoy other activities, or can you actually physically do other activities? And one of the questions that's important is, how much do I actually need to lose? Okay. So kind of answer these questions, but really be honest about them. So goals really do matter. And so goals should be realistic and well planned, specifically for weight loss. And so if you don't have these well planned weight loss goals, it can mean the difference between success and failure. Okay? If it's just a generalized, oh, I want to lose some weight. Okay, well, that's nice. That's a big picture, I guess. It truly is the big vague picture there, but we need to have things that are somewhat specific and well planned, and this is what's going to keep you focused and motivated, right? And so we need to provide that plan for a change. So SMART goals. Okay, so SMART goals are what? It's a mnemonic there, and the SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and then time bound. Okay, and we're going to go through kind of each of these different things: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time bound. All right, so why specific? Specific is the yes, obviously. And you really want to be very specific about this, because a vague outlook, and I've sometimes mentioned this as a goal or being, what you want is that picture postcard. Okay? What is it that you truly envision? But you really want to know, why are you doing this? That's something. Why is this goal really being created? What are the benefits of reaching the goal? Weigh the pros and the cons there. What is it? List them out. Okay? Who's actually involved? Now, for weight loss, it kind of falls onto our shoulders, but still, for each individual. But still, other people will be involved, because if you're changing how you're eating, that's going to affect the rest of your family. It's going to affect your friends. It's going to affect social. So actually, other people are always involved in our goals, even if we're trying to do it all by ourselves. But people will be involved, other people. And we have to keep this in mind. How does it actually affect them, which then affects us? Okay? What exactly needs to be accomplished? Notice that exactly part of that. Again, we need to be specific. Okay? What's the actual desired outcome? Okay, getting that picture postcard. What is it? What is it that we really want to reach? And then what's the time frame? Kind of, when will this goal be reached? So you're going to be specific here. You're going to write these things down, carefully think about all these things. So be specific. All right, so the M of SMART is, can you measure it? Okay, now weight's one of those things. Yeah, certainly you can measure. You step on a scale. Now there's other ways of measuring too, from doing actual measurements. You can measure different areas of your body. How do your jeans fit? How's your favorite dress fit? All these kind of things. These are ways to measure it. Now, the best way, in my mind, is step it on the scale. Okay, so obviously, I encourage people to step on the scale. And again, I encourage people to do this routinely. I think daily is a good idea. And it's really looking back and reflecting on each 24 hours, what can affect this weight. But weighing yourself, obviously, is one of the best ways, but there are other ways, and there isn't a right and a wrong here. And for any individual, if, getting into my favorite pair of jeans comfortably, that's a good way to measure it. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, so can you measure it? And obviously with weight you can't, but this is true with any goal. So specific and measurable. Is it attainable? Now, what this really means is kind of, is it even feasible to actually reach this? Now, with weight, okay, the feasibility is what's the likelihood too. And we each have to consider that depending on other things. Again, how much weight you're looking to lose, how old you are, how active you can be, lots of different things, different medical problems. They all kind of affect this. So is it actually attainable? And you want to kind of evaluate each of the steps of getting attainable. There is, and again, can I do it? Is it worth it? So you have to assess not only, and this is true with any goal, what your skills are, what your ability is, and kind of your overall attitude towards this. If it's just kind of a, well, I'd like to, okay, as opposed to this is what I'm going to do, that kind of mindset, then okay, then you need to really look at these things. How attainable is it? Are you willing and able to put forth the necessary work to see the particular outcome? And, world-class athletes have to ask themselves this all the time. One, they have to have the ability to be world-class athletes. Number two, are they really willing to do all the things that actually can make them a world-class athlete? There are very few people that truly can be world-class athletes. They just don't have the ability. It's not going to happen. No matter how hard they work at it, it's just not going to happen. But then there are those individuals who truly have the ability to be world-class athletes, but then are they willing to do all the things that are necessary to actually have that particular outcome? And those are two different things. Okay? And they have to be, again, we have to answer yes to those type of things. Right? So realistic expectations are going to increase your self-belief, your motivation, and your drive. So is this actually attainable? For some people, attainable, gee, can I lose 100 pounds? And it is very attainable to them. For other people, it's like, there's no way 100 pounds is coming off. What about 25 pounds? That's attainable. Now, subsequently, then, I can't answer that question for any one individual, but subsequently do need to kind of look at it. Is it actually attainable? So, realistic expectations, that's going to increase your self-belief, your motivation, and again, your drive to get there. It needs to be relevant to you. And what I mean by that, it's even if it is attainable, gee, I can lose 100 pounds, but, gee, it's my doctor wanted me to lose 100 pounds, or my fiance wanted me to lose 100 pounds, or my family, or whoever, or Uncle George wanted me to lose 100 pounds. It has to be relevant to you. I mean, it's like, I want to do this. Okay, so everyone is unique. And we have unique needs and abilities. And the goals should reflect that too. It needs to be relevant to you, not because someone else thought it was a good idea, or, gee, I think you could do this. Okay, those are all good, but it has to be relevant to you, your goals, desires. Okay? So it has to be relevant to your specific situation. And if it's not, you won't be motivated. If it is, it'll help keep you motivated to achieve that. Needs to be relevant. Okay, so again, specific, measurable, achievable. Is it relevant to you? All right, and then is it time bound? Because that's the T, the SMART. When is your goal going to be accomplished? Is there, gee, if it's a big goal, such as, okay, I want to lose 100 pounds. Okay, well, it's not going to happen in a month. It's probably going to be something a year, 2 years potentially. Okay? And it's like, okay, am I going to do this? I'm going to need to break this down into smaller goals then. Okay, but do you have a date in mind? And if you have that, okay, in a year, I want this to happen, or over this coming year, I would like this to happen. Well, then I just need to start breaking it down kind of literally month to month, week to week, however you want to break down, but kind of into more of what I'll call bite-sized goals that are somewhat easier to attain. If I just looking down the road and say, gee, 100 pounds from now, it's like, man, that just seems a long ways away. What about 10 pounds from now? Okay. So create that schedule for your goals. What are the steps that I'm going to do along the way to achieve these things? And we need to allow for things that are going to happen in life, whether it be, gee, I have my 20th wedding anniversary coming up. It's going to be a big celebration. And that may be the motivating thing, but also, gee, it is going to be a celebration. Or, whatever holiday is a big thing for you and your family, or we get together and we do this. And how am I going to plan for those type of things? So those goal reviews and adjustments, very important in that as well. You do want to personalize your goals, because again, it kind of goes back to they need to be meaningful for you. Okay. So ask yourself the question specifically to weight loss goals is, why do I want to lose this weight? What are the benefits to me? Okay. Again, kind of going back to, I mentioned this at the beginning, who's going to be affected by this? Because again, your actions are going to affect other people, whether it be people you work with, your home environment, friends you socialize with. It is going to affect them as well. Not that that has to be your biggest worry, but just realize that is going to happen and that you'll have to address these things. And if we can plan for those things ahead of time, it makes it easier. Okay. So you want to address these personal questions and then kind of set some of these achievable type goals there. All right, you want to aim for realistic weight loss. Okay, just saying, gee, I'm going to lose 100 pounds in 3 months. That's maybe not so realistic. So you want kind of what I'll refer to as healthy weight loss. And healthy weight loss tends to occur slowly and steadily. Now, people sometimes get, especially if you've had weight loss surgery, or you're looking at weight loss surgery, is that they may kind of look at this because initially that first month or two, weight comes off pretty darn fast. Okay, for lots of different reasons. One is, okay, you lose a bunch of water weight, but you also kind of, you physically can't eat very much. There's no way you can eat very much, and you're not really hungry, and kind of there are a lot of little things that occur that makes weight loss happen very fast. But reality is, after those first few months and the honeymoon is kind of over, this is work. Okay. And so kind of looking at that, trying to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week, kind of in the long run as you're going through this, those are very realistic things. And if you're looking at kind of just as a generality, if you're trying to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week, we're talking about getting rid of an extra 500 to 1,000 calories each day. So it either has to be a calorie deficit from not eating, or it has to be a calorie deficit from actually increasing my activity. Because it's still, we do have to kind of get rid of the calories at some level. Okay, it's not just magically I have surgery and weight starts falling off. It's like, no. Sometimes considering a percentage of your total weight as a goal, that can be a good place to start. As an example, say you weigh, just for ease of math, that, gee, I weigh 250 pounds, I'd like to lose 10%. Okay, well, 10% of 250 pounds is 25 pounds. Okay, and it's like, okay, that may be a good one and good goal, kind of especially getting started there. And then over the long term, gee, I may want to lose another 25 pounds, or however many that is. But breaking this down into kind of smaller bites, again, can actually be very helpful. But what we have found from clinical standpoint is if someone can lose 5 to 10% of their actual weight. So again, if you weigh 200 pounds, then 5% of that is 10 pounds. 10% of that is 20 pounds. Okay? So, but if you can lose 5 to 10%, that can actually improve health significantly. And it's a great start. It's a huge jump start in your overall health right there. All right, when I look at goals, I like to think both short-term and long-term. So it's kind of diving a little deeper here. Think short-term goals versus long-term goals. Short-term goals is, what am I going to accomplish in this relatively short period of time, which can be literally up to a few months. Okay, short-term goals kind of keep us honest on the daily basis, though. Is that we got to look at, gee, we're going to work at this, we're going to try to accomplish this in a relatively short period of time. So it keeps us kind of on track on this daily basis, though. So short-term goals then can be stepping stones to reach those long-term goals, which long-term goals typically are months, sometimes even years down the road. But accomplishing short-term goals kind of keeps that motivation going. So the long-term, again, picture postcard thing, that's the big picture. This is where I want to go. This is my ultimate motivation. But accomplishing those short-term goals is a very big deal. Okay? And by accomplishing these short-term goals, it kind of increases that sense of reality. Sometimes looking at that picture postcard, it just doesn't seem real. It's good to have that picture postcard type of thing, what I want to happen. But sometimes breaking that off and having short-term goals and seeing these things, it gives us a bigger sense of reality. This is what's happening kind of in that day-to-day, short-term, literally up to a few months. Again, long-term are kind of over months to years. So goals also need to be feasible for the long term. And you don't want to have so many goals that there's no way these can ever, and they all just kind of get mixed up, bundled up, and we kind of just, there's overwhelming that subsequently that nothing's going to happen. So again, having too many goals sounds ideal, okay, but it can sometimes be a little unmanageable though. So kind of, again, keeping this attainable. Don't want to just completely overwhelm yourself. Work on some basics, which I talk about doing some of the basics things all the time. Okay? But the long-term goals really tend to motivate you. This is where I want to go. This is where we'd like to be in X amount of time. Writing things down is very powerful. So we talk about journaling all the time, very powerful. But from a goal perspective, it's also very powerful. When you write it down, you own it. And if it's not written down, you don't really own it. It's kind of more of a wish. Okay? So write it down. So when planning your goals, write down everything and go through the details, not just the vague kind of type of things, the details. When and where are you're going to do these things? How are you going to fit in that walk in your schedule? We can just say, oh, I'm going to walk every day. Okay, when? What? How far? Who's going to do it? When am I going to do it? What happens when the weather's bad? What do you do instead? Okay, what do you need to actually do to get started? I need to get a decent pair of shoes to do this. What snacks are we eating? Hey, can we get out of the way? What snacks should I actually utilize? What day should I actually start this? Who is it that can actually help me? Who is it that's going to hinder me along the way? Kind of write these things down. Start figuring out the solutions to them, and then start tracking your progress. You write it down. When we write it down, we own it. Okay, pick a date. Okay, it's nice to think and say, well, I'm going to start doing this. Okay, this is the coming year. I'm going to be doing this. Well, kind of pick that date. Sometimes setting yourself up for failure means I'm going to try to do everything today. Okay, well, maybe that's not the greatest thing in the world. It's like, okay, let's plan this all out, and I'm going to start in this date, January 15th. Few days down the road, or it could be February 1st. Okay, whatever it is, pick a date, and I'm going to plan, spend this next week or so. I'm going to spend this period of time figuring out how I'm going to accomplish these things. What am I really going to do? Kind of figure out where are those, hurdles I'm going to have to go around. What are the solutions of those hurdles? But picking a definite start date, again, you own it. Okay, and that's what we want. We want to own these decisions. Now, we do, when we're picking this, kind of account for life circumstances. Gee, I know, what's going to happen. I'm going to pick February 1st, but I know, February 14th, Valentine's coming day, and somebody's going to expecting me to do something nice for them, whether it be get them a box of chocolates or take them out to dinner or whatever. Okay. Still keep those things in mind, because we know life circumstances are going to come around, and they tend to be recurring themes. Again, we tend to realize if we actually look down the road, it really isn't that surprising that things happen. The exception to that, maybe a pandemic going on, but still, okay, a lot of things we can kind of plan for them. So account for life circumstances that are going to hamper your efforts, work, school demands, vacations, relationships, projects ongoing, and then we need to kind of resolve some of those issues before we actually start. It's kind of, okay, what am I going to do? Because I know this is coming up. What are we going to do ahead of time? How do I head that off from it doesn't then jump up in front of me as a hurdle? But again, write them down and own them. Start small. Okay, it's nice to think of the big picture, yes, and the big hurdle, but still, let's start small with this. Some of these little changes that I need to make. Can I do it? Is it worth it? So plan that series of small goals that build on each other. And kind of all kind of stepping up there, kind of going up, build on these goals, and then once you accomplish one, great. That's more motivation to keep things going. We're in this for the long haul. Life itself is obviously a journey, and it's a long haul. And so something that we do well tomorrow is great, but we got to continue. Okay, we're going to keep on going with all these things. And sometimes if we try to undertake too much at one time, or too intensely at one time, or just too many things at one time, it just kind of the uncomfortableness of all that starts going way up. And the more likely we are then to give it up. So sometimes kind of this is my stuff. I'm going to do this. I'll get good at that. I'll make it a habit. And then I'm going to add on to that. I'm going to start working on this. Planning that out, owning it, again, work on those things. Very, very important. All right, plan for setbacks. Setbacks are always going to happen, whether it be, life gets in the way, which it always does. So they're a natural part of any behavior change. Certainly with weight loss, your plateaus are going to happen. They're going to be there. There are plenty of saboteurs out there trying to impede our goals. You may not know it, you may not realize it, but they're there and they're going to pop up. Barriers are also there. Barriers or hurdles, they're going to pop up in front of you and they're going to be part of life. That's just the way it is. If we can identify these barriers and detours along the way, again, then we can plan for them. So just think about this, is that everyone who successfully makes changes in his or her life has always experienced setbacks. There's always hurdles that come up. And there's those setbacks, and then we're going to, okay, how do we get over them again? And this is true everybody. Evaluate your progress. So sometimes taking that time just to reflect on what's happened this past week. What can I do this upcoming week? What's going to occur? So review those goals. Writing down goals, keep them in a place where you can, where you see them all the time, or you're reminded all the time of why are you doing this. Review those goals routinely. Weekly is a great time to do it, whether looking at the coming week and reflecting on the previous week. Sunday tends to be a good time to do that, whether it be Sunday morning, Sunday evening, when you can carve out a little bit of time and spend some reflection time there. Important. So think about what worked and what didn't work. And okay, what can we do differently next time? And then make those plans to do once you know, gee, during this week, these difficulties may jump up. All right, and just like I alluded to there, then we need to reassess and readjust. It's okay, what worked well last week? What didn't work well last week? Subsequently, then, what am I going to do differently next time? Do I need to adjust the time frame? Do I need to adjust what's happening? And the goals can be dynamic. Just because, we can have that picture postcard out to the future there, but they also can be dynamic. We don't necessarily, the route doesn't have to be exactly the same. And very likely it's not going to be a straight path. It's going to be, we're taking little detours all the time. Okay? So as you progress through lifestyle changes, don't be afraid to change the goals. You may find that, as you go through this, I was thinking 100 pounds was what I wanted. But, what I really want is to feel really good, get rid of some of these medications, all that's it, and I've accomplished that. And subsequently then, maybe this goal needs to evolve a little bit. And so subsequently, I don't need that. Or I'm shooting for more. Okay? So you can adjust those goals. So to be willing to change those goals as you progress. Okay? All right. And then finally, reward yourself. Not necessarily with food, but reward yourself. Whether give yourself a little pat on the back that, I've done something. Whether it be hopefully movie theaters will open up one of these days. You can watch a movie or whatever it is. Okay? Get your nails done, do them yourself, take the bubble bath, whatever it is. Okay, but you need to have those rewards as well. Each of us does. So again, SMART goals. Think SMART. Specific. Forgot what they are already. Okay, measurable, attainable, relevant to you, and time bound. Be honest with yourself. Write them down so that you own them, and in that big picture, eat to meet long-term goals, not short-term satisfaction. Sometimes easier said than done. All right, I don't see any questions out there, but if you have questions, you know where to find us here at the Center for Weight Loss Success. Email success@cfws.com. Phone number 757-873-1880. All right, log into your membership portal. I say this all the time. It's where we house all the educational things. Obviously, we're not doing a lot of live get-togethers at this point, but in there we have all the educational stuff pre-recorded. All these will be uploaded into that membership portal. You should be receiving the weight loss tips as well as recipes, and we keep evolving there. So again, I encourage people. It's a good way to just stay connected. Okay, tune in each Tuesday, 12:15, next webinar. Watch your email for the invite and link. And remember, it's your life. Make it a healthy one. Have a good day, everyone. Take care.